Hi YouTubers, it's SmokeSE 77 again for next video today. So it's going to be part 2 of my series of how to use nasal snuff. It's going to be, is snuff safe? Now nasal snuff, this snuff right here, dry snuff, we discussed in the last part, what is it? Is it safe to use nasal snuff? Now first off, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving medical advice at all. In general, nasal snuff is seen as most likely the least harmful form of tobacco. Now that sounds kind of weird because tobacco in general is not healthy. Let me explain briefly. I don't want to go on it too long of a rant for this, but this camera records 10 minutes. But so how do I begin? The health effects of nasal snuff are completely different than chewing tobacco or smoking. So while no tobacco product is safe, there's no such thing as a safe tobacco product, this is safer. I mean, it's not safe where I would say go ahead and do it if you're whatever, but point is, the reason why nasal snuff is generally recognized as being safer than cigarettes or chewing tobacco is mainly because the carcinogen level is very low in nasal snuff. Even dip and chew has some carcinogens in it. Granted, there are very low levels. They're only, very small levels. If you watch the Mud Jug 1 video and the Dr. Roeder interview with Mud Jug 1, they discussed how smokeless tobacco in general is much safer than smoking cigarettes. But nasal snuff in general is recognized as not, I wouldn't call it, it's kind of hard to explain it, not low risk, but it's a lot. If you're going to use tobacco, in other words, if you absolutely have to use tobacco, obviously you shouldn't use any tobacco to begin with, but if you have to use tobacco, it's generally recognized as a safer alternative than smoking cigarettes. And the reason is because, number one, you're not burning tobacco, you're not inhaling carcinogenic smoke, or even a vapor, in the case of electronic cigarettes, and you're not putting something in constant contact with your lip or your gum. So it is generally recognized as a safer alternative because you're not burning tobacco and you're not, something is not rubbing against your lip, which could cause leukoplakia or even lip cancer. Now, the health effects of nasal snuff are really debatable because there's not been a lot of research done in present day on nasal snuff. I'll be getting into this a little bit more in the series. Generally, if you're a very light snuff user, the health effects are very minimal. Compared to smoking, even if you smoke, I know I'm a smoker myself, I smoke cigars and pipes, you do notice health effects even if you only smoke a couple of pipes a day or a cigar a day. You notice health effects. But with nasal snuff, you don't generally notice many health effects unless you're a very heavy user. What health effects do you notice with snuff? Obviously you can sneeze, you can cough, because you're not, especially for people who are beginners, who are not used to putting something up their nose. Those are just unpleasant effects. Is it dangerous to use snuff? Is it dangerous to your health in terms of like a cancer risk? That's really debatable. Some people will tell you any tobacco product, no matter what, is so dangerous you should never use it because whatever. In general, nasal snuff is not viewed as in the same category as smoking or chewing tobacco because you are just getting a small sensation of nicotine through your nasal sinuses. You're not getting a very strong nicotine hit, so you're not raising your blood pressure as much. Also, excuse me, nasal snuff does not have, like I said, because it's not burning tobacco, it does not have the 3,000 plus chemicals in cigarette smoke or tobacco smoke. It does come with a very slight risk of sinus cancer or nasopharyngeal cancer, though it's very slight and it's only really elevated if you smoke on top of it or potentially drink on top of it heavily, or if you're a very, very, very heavy user of snuff. In general, if you're just a casual user of snuff, somebody who just takes a pinch of snuff once or twice a day, is not good for you, and that's obviously why you have to be 18 years old to buy it. You have to be an adult to buy it. It's not for kids, not encouraging kids to do it. But it's generally viewed as, the point I'm trying to make, it's generally viewed as a better alternative than smoking a cigarette or throwing a wad in your cheek. There are still health effects. It can cause discoloration in your mucus from your nasal sinuses. It can also potentially lead to a slight increase in cardiovascular problems and pregnancy problems, but obviously that's different. In general, it's not something that kids should be doing at all because it's obviously a product for adults. But if you have to use tobacco products, nasal snuff is generally recognized as a safer alternative to smoking or chewing tobacco. Anyway, comment or subscribe if you want to, and bye.